Well, hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com, and today I'm going to share a couple really fun shaker cards using some of the brand new Terrific Tickets products from Whimsy Stamps. This is the Terrific Tickets Halloween layering stencil, and there are multiple pieces to this stencil. It layers up to make the cutest little critters and also some smaller designs for the Terrific Tickets, and I'll show you how to use this. And then we have the Terrific Halloween Tickets stamp set. This is fabulous, and we're going to use quite a few of those today. This one is the Terrific Tickets window die. This makes it possible to make our shaker card for this one, and this is the Terrific Tickets die itself. So we're going to go through all of these, and I'm going to make a couple of cards. So this video is a little bit longer, but I think it's so worth it because I'm going to show you different ways to use these products and how to kind of mix it up a little bit. So look here at this layering stencil. I'm just kind of testing it out to see how it's going to work with the Terrific Tickets die, and they line up perfectly, so you can stencil them all at once if you want to, or you can just do one at a time. So it's up to you however you want to do this, but I find it easy to just layer them all up at the same time, and then you can cut them apart if you want to. So let's get started. I'm going to cut out this Terrific Tickets die right here, and I'm just going to pop out those extra little dots, and then I'm going to tape it to my glass mat. Now I'm going to line up this layering stencil, and you can see there are etched lines that really help you to line it up very well. And you'll notice that there are extra little tickets that you can switch out. So there's lots of choices when you do this, and they are labeled and marked. So I'm going to use the first one right here, and I'm just going to start stenciling on everything that is already on this layering stencil. So I'm not switching out the smaller ones. Rather, I'm just going to use it just as is, and I was really happy with it. I'm using orange as the first layer. And so you'll see that each layer adds more and more letters. So that makes it fun to switch up the layers. Now for this one over here with the ghosts, I'm going to bring in some purple. And this is still the same layer. And then for this one over here that builds a Frankenstein, I'm going to use some green. So you can see it's pretty easy to do, and that's all there is to the first layer. Now I'm going to switch this out and go in with the second layer. And there we go, there's the first one. And the second layer has an additional layer for the orange. I'm going to tape off those bats because I didn't want to get any orange on my bats today. So I'm just taping that off just to make sure I didn't. Because I am using kind of my larger brushes here, I'm going to start using some of the smaller brushes for the smaller elements. Now for Frankenstein, I'll go in with a black layer here. And I'm using my smaller brush now. So this will add his hair and some details to his face, just like that. And then I'm going to go in the bats and add some black to the first layer of those bats as well. Very simple to do. And then for the ghost's hands, I'm going to go in with a little darker purple, and I'll use the darker purple for those words as well, for the letters that are on these words this time. And that's going to finish off this layer. Once that's finished, I'll remove that and add the final layer, and we'll go ahead and add the rest of the details. For the last color, I'm going to use green. So purple, green, and orange for the words, which I think really is great for Halloween. For Frankenstein's eyes, I'm going to do a darker green. I think he deserves some green eyes. And they look great on him. For the rest of the bat, I'm going to do some more black. This time I'm going to put on a heavier layer of black so it's a little bit darker. And some green for that stem on the pumpkin. Just like that. Now this is the first time that I've used this stencil, and watch my reaction. I loved it. After I stenciled the whole thing, I was just so excited and happy. I mean, look how cute this is. And I love that there are also options to stencil on those smaller tickets, so you can do some of the little other images. There are some candy corns, a witch's broom, and also stars and the moon. So that's really fun too, to mix and match. Now I have die cut another Terrific Tickets die, and we're going to use the Terrific Halloween Ticket Stamp Set. And there's extra, I mean, there's lots to choose from here. So there are 4 of the larger ones to choose from. So I picked 3 here, and then there's lots of smaller ones to choose from. So I'm just choosing the ones that jumped out at me the first time, but I love that there are lots of options. That gives you plenty of room to experiment and to enjoy and to create and just play. So I'll stamp this down with some Copic friendly ink. This is going to work really well with ink blending as well. And I'll stamp that a couple of times just to make sure I get a nice dark impression. And look at how cute these tickets are. Now you can use these as is, or you can cut them apart. You can use them directly on a card like this. Today I'm going to bring in the Terrific Tickets window die, and we're going to be able to make a shaker, but it also gives you these inside pieces for the tickets, which you can use for a shadow, or you can use on the inside of the tickets to do some layering. So it's really, really great. All of these work together so well. I am in love with the Terrific Tickets. Now I'm going to die cut out some acetate here. I'm using the Terrific Tickets die, the regular die, not the window die. That way it will cut perfectly to fit behind the window die, and that'll make it really easy to make a shaker. To add this on, I'm just using some liquid adhesive, and I'm going to glue that down to the acetate, and I'll leave this to dry for a while using my magnets to hold that down. And I want to make sure this is completely dry before I use it. So now that it's dry, I can add to the back some really thin, double thick foam tape. And this is perfect for shakers. Now the foam tape that I'm using today has been discontinued. I'm hoping I can find some though for you. If I can, I'll link it below. But it makes it so easy when you have this double thick foam tape that you can just run right around all of the edges. And for the smaller edges, I am just taking off the backer so that I can kind of move that around and make it fit exactly on those edges. And I think this works out really, really great for making a shaker. You can see that it takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of effort to get that just exactly around those edges, but it wasn't too difficult, and I did it pretty quickly here. You just want to make sure there are no gaps or holes in your foam tape so that when you add that, the shaker pieces don't fall out. Now you can add some dividers in between if you want to. That is completely optional. Or you can have it shake all through all of the tickets up and down. I decided to go ahead and add that to make it more stable, so it's all the same and it has those crossbars to hold up the windows. So I'm just adding a few little sequins and Halloween colors. I'm just adding a few to the top as well by gluing those down so that we'll always have some shaker pieces up on the top of each panel. And I really like to do that because I like to have a little bit that always stays sparkly at the top. And so just a few down below. I don't want to cover up our images really when all the shaker pieces have fallen to the bottom. So I'm removing just a few here, and then we're ready to put this all together. That looks good right about there. Now I can remove the backer from our foam adhesive and then add that to our tickets. I'm going to push down on all the sides to make sure it's completely adhered really well before I shake it. So I'm going around all of the edges, wanting to make sure that that is ready to go and none of those pieces fall out. Now this is super cute just as is, but of course I couldn't stop there. I had to add some elements, some additional elements. So you don't have to. I mean, it's completely optional. I added it to my card base, and then I brought in a few of the mini pumpkins from the mini Jacks die, and I just thought they were so cute on there. And then I had to bring in some mini bats, of course. The mini bats just really put it over the top. And I brought in one more thing. I thought about bringing in a cat. It was too big for this particular one, so these mini bats will work really great. I added a little shadow to those bats so that they would pop right out off the background of that frame. And then I added a few bones over there just below the ghosts from the Boneyard die. So I'll glue all of those down, and that really just puts it over the top. There we go. So let me show you all of this ready to go and shaking around. Everything is ready and glued on now. And there's our little shaker. It is so much fun. And how cute are those tickets? And the layering stencil. Just a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and use the rest of these from the terrific Halloween ticket stamp set and the tickets die. I'm going to cut them apart this time, but I'm going to leave the small one and the large one together. So it's kind of like you can use that as one of those tickets that you break apart, you know. And maybe a couple of these I will cut apart to use for our next shaker. My idea was to ink these up with some different colors of ink and have them be the tickets to the graveyard. So that graveyard tours one was perfect for this, and then I used a smaller one that says beware. So we're going to use both of these, and I thought it would be fun to turn this also into a shaker. I brought in this fun little guy from a stamp set, and we're just going to color him up in some shades of cool grays, and then I'm going to cut him out and use him for the top of the graveyard or the headstone. Now I've cut out the headstones here, and I cut out one of this one here. I cut that out with some acetate on the front, and then I cut the bottom layer out with some foam tape, and I'm putting this together much the same way that I put together the other, adding some little shaker bits on the inside. We've got some black and some neon orange to match our tickets. And I thought this would be fun just as a shaker element on its own, but I had to turn it, of course, into a card. So I thought maybe those Halloween inks backgrounds, but it was a little too busy. So I instead am taking a circle die and I'm adding some clouds using some distress oxides over the back, and that's going to be our background. So it's a little more calm of a background for the shaker. There's a really lot going on here. Then I'll add a little green distress oxide at the bottom of the circle to create kind of a ground. I love how oxide inks show up even on black cardstock, and it creates kind of a spooky, eerie vibe. Just like that. Now we can start putting this together. I think that looks really cool, just like that. Look at how those tags just pop. And then the little moon in the background is from the werewolf die set. I will list and link everything below, by the way, if you're looking for something in particular. And that way you can go and take a look very easily using those links. To make the headstone kind of pop out a little more, I'm using a little sterling foundry wax around the edges and kind of dry brushing that on. This will make it glow in the moonlight just a little bit. And once we add this on, I am going to heat set it because you want to heat set foundry wax or it will just flake off eventually. So after I finish adding this around the entire gravestone, giving it kind of a spooky, eerie, silvery stone look, I guess, I will take my heat tool and just heat that up just a little bit, but not enough to melt that acetate. So just so you know, I did that off screen. And now we're ready to put all of this together. That gate I die cut out of silver sparkly cardstock, and now I'm going to add a few of these bones from that Boneyard die. I'm adding some highlights to the black cat. We'll add that to the front, and now we can put it all together. To make this a top folding card, I'm going to bring in my scoring board and just score about 1/2 inch on this extra black circle that I die cut. And that is what is going to make the hinge. So I'll fold that back and forth, add a little bit of liquid adhesive to the top, and then glue that together with our front piece, just like that. I'm going to let that dry before I do the next step, but just so you know, I wanted this to stand up, so I'm going to trim just a little bit off the end of the back piece, and that's going to allow that to stand up instead of rolling all around. And in order to have an inside sentiment, I'm going to need a white circle that's just a touch smaller, and I'm also going to cut off a little bit of the edge from the top and the bottom as well. That way it will look like you made it just perfectly. And that's going to work out for our inside sentiment. I'm bringing in the Haunted Night sentiments and choosing one of those to stamp on the inside. I think this one right here would be perfect. It says Happy Halloween. And you could also use those ticket stamps for the inside if you want to. So I'm going to use the Happy Halloween and then a couple of the little images, a ghost and a little spider hanging down. Those are from the same set. I am masking off just a little portion of that so that it doesn't go over my sentiment, but that looks pretty cute just like that. And now I'll go ahead and glue that to the inside. You can write your sentiment on the inside as well, or your note. And there we go. There's our shaker circle card. He's so cute. I just love those tickets as well. Who wants a graveyard tour? By the way, I have never been on a graveyard tour, and I probably never will in my entire life. But if you like them, let me know, comment below. And there's our ticket die. And then here's one I did with some of the extra ticket stencils that you can choose from. Here's some of the sets that I used, and as I say, I will list and link everything below so you can take a look if you're interested. But look how cute these turned out, and making them into a shaker is just a little bit extra. I love a good shaker myself. Let me know which one's your favorite and what you are going to make for Halloween this year. If you're a Whimsy fan, you know that Whimsy does Halloween like no other. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing, and I'll be back with more inspiration real soon. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.